Hi there, Rabbi. How's it going?
Good, thank you, Joe.
And it's time for another How to Be Jewish in 30 Seconds. The word mitzvah, as I interpret it from the way I hear it bandied about, means a good deed. Is that the simple explanation?
Um, Not quite the simple explanation, Joe. The word mitzvah has two meanings. You just gave the common meaning, the common usage now. So when someone talks about doing a good deed, they said, "Oh, I did a mitzvah," or someone will say to you, "Gee, why don't you do a mitzvah and give something to the food bank or the clothing bank?" Or why don't you take out the garbage, empty the dishwasher? That would be a mitzvah because I'm really busy. You'd be doing something good or right. That's a derivative. The word mitzvah means one of the 613 commandments in the Torah. Now, whenever I say 613 commandments, people always say, well, aren't there only 10? What we commonly call the 10 commandments in Judaism are the 10 utterances. They're 10 of the 613. And so we kind of go, 613, then I don't want to bother with them. There's too many. In reality, I don't have the numbers in front of me. Three or 400 involve the temple when it existed. And remember, there were two temples in Jerusalem. They were both destroyed. So some of those commandments involve animal sacrifices, worship in the temple. So several hundred, 300 or 400, come out immediately because they can't be observed. Then there's a couple of hundred more that are in very obscure situations involving farming or growing crops or harvesting. So a whole another group comes right out. So out of the 613, and I don't have the number, there is a practical number that one can perform. And since these were commanded by God, 613 mitzvot, commandments, at some point, people interpreted the word mitzvah as doing a good deed because you're doing something God asked you to do. What could be bad about that? I mean, if God asks you to do something, it must be a good deed.
Well, it does, except if I just wanted to do a mitzvah, I'd have to look up the common law commandments, or can I just rely on the fact that if I do a good deed for somebody, it probably falls under one of the categories?
So if you want to specifically fulfill mitzvah as a good deed and one of the 106, one of the 613, I would suggest that you fulfill the first of the 613 commandments. And that way, you'll guarantee to be doing a good deed and doing what God told you to do.
There you go. So lay it upon me. What is that first commandment?
The first commandment given was be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Have children. That's the first of the 613. And that would hit both categories, wouldn't it, Joe?
It would. And is it something that I have to go out and actively search for, or can I just plan it in my future endeavors?
Well, it has to be in your future endeavors if you're not married, because we're talking about between a husband and wife. So God was commanding a husband and wife to be fruitful and multiply. So we're not talking about you sowing your wild oats. Those of you out there who are married, if you've fulfilled the commandment. And if you haven't had children, you want to look at your spouse and say, I would like to fulfill one of God's commandments.
An opening line, if ever I heard one. Thank you so much, Rabbi, for your wisdom as always. It's very productive.